I'll try my best to keep it short, but to explain my situation, I need to give you, a backstory. Or else you might think that I'm stupid or insane. I'll not reveal my name for my own safety, so please don't mind. I'll write the story anonymously, but guys, just give my age and gender so you can get a basic idea of me. I'm 38 male and I grew up in an unimaginably poor household. My parents were homeless when I was born, so you can say I had spent my childhood in the streets. When my sister was born, my father managed to find a roof over our head. But both of my parents were on and off drug addicts, so growing up was hard for us. We never got proper education, as feeding ourselves was the main goal. My parents never tried for a better life, but on the other hand, I was different. I wanted to earn, and at a very young age, I started working wherever I could. Mowing a lawn, babysitting, cleaning a garage, you name it, I tried to earn money from wherever that I could. Thankfully, I never got into the dark world of drugs. I'd seen my parents' situation, and I was always scared of these drugs. With the lack of education, the only option I had was to earn money by doing blue-collar jobs. I was okay with it. I believed that if I worked hard, I would have a better life no matter when it comes. I knew I had to wait. My parents properly got out of the addiction when they were old. However, by the time their immunity gave up on them because of the years of abuse that they were sick. On the other hand, my sister also got into addiction behind my back when she was a teenager. I worked hard to send her into rehab, and I needed her to be fit and fine before it got out of hand. Well, by living with addicts, one thing I realized was that it's a strange feeling that everyone is addicted to. They know the consequences will not be good, but the comfort feeling it gives is too enticing to ignore. You might think my parents and sister are bad for being addicts and leaving a huge responsibility over my head, but hey, let me tell you that none of them are bad people. They always apologize for giving me a hard time, and many times they've suggested leaving them on their own. The house we used to live in was basically a separate storage room of an old man's house. The man took pity on the kids and let us just go off and live there. As a kid, he was my role model. I used to learn tricks about earning money from him, and he was addicted to lotteries, and he was the one who introduced me to it. I always used to keep some money aside just to buy lotteries religiously, and was hoping to win it one day. When the old man passed away, a new owner came into the house and threw us all out. I don't know, I was probably around 18 then. I got a job in a factory, and they also offered me a small quarter to live in. The owner was kind enough to let my family members stay there as well. My parents insisted I leave them and only wanted me to bring my sister. They said they lived in the street before for a long time and they could only manage, but I could not just let them go when they were sick. For a year maybe, we lived in that cramped space. After that, I managed to take them out of there, and when I got another job as a garbage collector. My sister also recovered from her addiction, and she also started to contribute a little with her part-time jobs. We found a small apartment for ourselves. It was still small for 4 adults, but a lot better from where we had come. I was proud of myself, mainly because I was capable. From there, my situation did not lighten up as much as I wanted it to. Mainly because I was only capable of blue-collar jobs and it did not pay as much as an office job. I did get a bit better paying jobs, such as changing factories with a higher pay. Well, also I worked as a plumber. Even though it was enough to fill our belly every day and lead a decent life, I could not save much because I had to pay constant medical bills for my parents as well. Things turned upside down when one day I suddenly won a lottery about a year ago. When others were addicted to drugs, I was addicted to the lottery. I think I've been addicted to it for almost 20 years now. I won the lottery. $3 million after taxes. I recovered like 2 point something. I thought my life would be settled if I won the lottery, but it was quite the opposite, and unfortunately most of these are my fault. I was clueless about my newfound wealth. I didn't have enough education to handle the amount, and I'm the type of person who has never entered a bank in his life. Whatever I used to earn, I used to spend it on my family, and the little amount I used to save up by the end of the month would take place in the bank of my cupboard. I didn't even know people were making their living by giving people money advice. However, when I received the check, I had to open up a bank account to withdraw the money. I was skeptical about the safety of my money if I left it in a bank, so I cashed out a big amount and kept it at my house as I thought it was safe. The news of my winning the lottery had sold like a hotcake in my neighborhood. Many relatives who I did not know existed came and congratulated me personally. I was sad that when we were homeless and struggling, none of them cared at all. However, I was getting praise for them, and it was feeling good, not gonna lie. The first thing I did was get a big house. You would not say it was the ideal for a millionaire, but it was big enough to fit my family comfortably, so I didn't need anything else. My sister agreed to pursue higher education after that, but unfortunately things did not go happily as both of my parents passed away in the span of a month. They passed away before I could give them, well, expensive and proper treatment. I was depressed and out of place the whole time. I was not happy with the money I got because my parents were not there to enjoy it. I still used to do my job after getting the money to divert myself. I thought I was fortunate that my colleagues didn't know about it, but one day I accidentally spilled it and they started asking for money to pay their expenses. I did pay some of their rent, medical bills, debts, and all, and they were my friends, so I didn't really mind. But after that, they started to distance me, and the only time that they used to come to see me is when they needed money. I was getting frustrated with their behavior. My workspace was not a peaceful place for me anymore, so I resigned from my job. I was confined in my house alone as my sister went out to state for her studies. It was absolutely suffocating. Work was all I knew, and I got my friends from my work as well. And as they were not the same anymore, I don't know, I was just left all alone. And that's it. Lonely and depressed. If you think that was the worst part, oh wait for it. Just wait a bit, I'll tell you how stupid I am and how pathetic people can be. When I had nothing left to work for. Right? Absolutely nothing. I thought I should try dating. Even though I'm almost in my middle ages, I have never dated anyone. I was too busy with work, and to be honest, as I never had a proper education, I never thought I was worthy to get into the dating culture. I opted for the good old way to meet someone I knew, and within a week, I found a girl who I really liked. She seemed to like me too. For about 2 months, we were happy, and I was enjoying the new experience. But after a few days, I get a call from the girl, and she was saying she got into an emergency. She said she immediately needs money, as one of her friends had an accident and they needed to operate it immediately or else her friend would go into a coma. She was a crying mess, and I was sold by her acting. She sent a friend of hers to pick up the money, and I gave it to a guy that she sent. But after that, I heard nothing from her for days. I was scared. I informed the police. I gave them whatever information I had about her, but they told me all that was someone with her name did not exist. I got scammed. But I was more upset about getting the same treatment I got from my friends at work. I remembered that I trusted the girl so much that I opened my cupboard one day in front of her and she accidentally saw the cash I had. I realized that keeping the money in my home was not a good idea, and I thought about depositing it into the bank again. But before I could do so, I fell into another trap. One of my cousins came to my house for my birthday and proposed an idea to invest it. Yeah, he said keeping money in the bank is not a good idea and I will have minimal profit. His investing plan looked genuine and has a good profit margin as well. I was concerned about the safety of the money, and he assured me that it would be very safe. Way more safe than a bank. He was my cousin, so, he did seem to understand my struggle of keeping the money safe, so I believed him and gave him a good chunk of it. Well, reality struck when he stopped contacting me after a few days. I got the news that he left the country. I was in deep depression after that and was scared to even talk with anyone or go outside my home. That was a huge amount of money that I could not let go, so I reported to the police and they were still investigating. Recently, I get an update that somebody with the same facial features is currently in the city. I'm anxious about it and want to see where it ends. To be honest, the lack of trust in people and loneliness is absolutely eating me alive. Even if I get the money back, my mental state will never be the same, I think. I don't know. What should I do in this situation? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. How's everybody doing today? I can't believe OP is in such a horrible position. He hasn't really trusted anyone ever, and these people are just giving him more reasons to not trust anyone. We have 4 updates to hop into, and the first update, well, sit back and relax because it's here, and don't forget to subscribe. update number 1. Oh, hey guys, it's me, I'm back. Well, I never thought that I would get negative comments on my story. There are mean people everywhere. Using logic is out of their behind. You're calling my mental state an act? Have you ever been in my shoes? I had parents who were drug addicts, and that also happened after someone scammed them and took their whole money away. All I wanted was, I don't know, to give them a better life. But when I finally got the ability to, they died. The people I knew and I thought were my friends ended up only talking to me when they needed money. I still tried to build a relationship, but only ended up being scammed. And now my relatives, well, they scam me too. Just like what happened with my parents, but I was strong enough to not get into drugs, and all I did was get into depression. Also, how do you expect to react to this kind of situation? I was truthful about everything. It really hurts me after all these struggles. I was called weak. I know I won the lottery and many will get jealous of it, but I was buying tickets for almost 2 decades. Some said I suddenly became money-minded, and that's not true. Because I've always been money-minded, I learned at a very young age that money is the only way I can give my family a better life. Okay, enough ranting, moving on to the update. I lost the money that my cousin took and ran off with it. Police tried to find him, but the guy that they were suspecting of it was not him. To be honest, I've never seen that cousin before in my life. When my parents were on their deathbed, some people came to see them and he was there too. My parents were not in a state to recognize any of them, and my sister was just like me, oblivious to our relatives. However, what is lost is lost. Thankfully, I have not given all my money away. Most of it's still in my bank account, and after my cousin there were many people who came to me and claimed that they were my relatives and asked for money or tried to convince me to invest in their business. The situation became too unbearable. I was also regretting buying a house in a relatively poor neighborhood because whenever I went out, there would be somebody who would try to connive me to donate money for community welfare. It's not like I don't want to give them money. It's because I was scared of getting scammed and tired of people treating me as a free ATM machine. My sister, on the other hand, had built a happy life for herself. She's studying and dating, and sometimes I feel jealous and she was living a normal life. Being old enough to study? However, my sister and her boyfriend had suggested that I go see a therapist. I agreed, because I needed someone to vent my emotions to. That felt like the best decision I could take in this lifetime. So, the therapist I'm seeing is an old kind of guy. He sits there, gives me time to adjust, and gives good advice, and I used to take 2 appointments every week. And I was looking forward to it, and he does seem to understand me. Probably better than me. Not gonna lie, I became dependent on him. I told him about the loneliness I was feeling after losing my parents, and he advised me to visit their grave once a week, offer them flowers and clean the area, and it worked. Visiting their grave gave an impression as if I'm taking care of them. The situation is that he asked me who was close to me, and I said my sister. He advised me to call her every other day so that I won't feel lonely. He even told me if I trust my sister, I can ask her to find me a friend or partner. Well, that was before I told him about the lottery money. After I told him about the money, he was acting weird. He said I should not disturb my sister by calling her every day and said she might find this behavior annoying. I know I can get skeptical about people nowadays, and I'm sure that I'm overthinking. But I still came here to get your opinions. Feel free to express your point of view. Update number 2. Update time. It's been a few months since I haven't given an update, and I'm sorry for that. I'm still seeing the therapist. He's been great for my mental health, and I'm kind of emotionally dependent on him. Even though we have a professional relationship, he even came to my house and joined me in some places. We're like friends now. Sometimes he doesn't even charge money for my sessions. But unfortunately, guys, my relationship with my sister and her boyfriend has ended. After she got into the relationship, she changed. She said my therapist is being extra friendly with me. What's wrong with that? I told her that he's like a father figure, but she said my therapist has other motives. She tried to talk with me, but I was too annoyed with her behavior, so I avoided it. I just used to send her money and, well, that's it. She's also become someone who is related to me just for money. I told everything to my therapist, and he suggested that if my relationship was so toxic, I should cut ties. He said it would be good for my mental health, so I stopped talking with my sister altogether. My therapist and his wife came to my house and stayed for a few days to give me mental support. By the way, I sold my house and got a new house that my therapist recommended to me. He said this would be good for my mental health, and he was right. The place and the views are out of the world, and my therapist used to visit me often to give me company. We used to have a barbecue on the terrace. They were good to me, so I gave one of my rooms to them for free. Whenever they used to visit me, they used to stay for a few days, so why not? They were like my parents. I adored them too much, but recently something happened and I can't stop thinking about it. We were having a barbecue party one day as usual. My therapist was drunk and he went to sleep in his room, so I was alone with his wife. She told me that they've been having financial issues recently. She said her husband is a good person, and whenever he clicks with someone, he stops asking for money, as he did with me, and now they're out of it. She also said that her brother-in-law has filed a case against them to take over their father's house, and there's a high possibility that they will be homeless. She didn't ask for my help, but it feels like it's my responsibility to take care of them. I view them as my parents, and if my parents were alive today, I would be giving them all the care in the world. I've decided to tell them after a few days, but I wanted to let you guys know about it first. What do you think? Am I doing it right? Update number 3. Hey guys, it's been 6 long months. Sorry for the delay. I've been fooled again. I've never thought having money and being rich would be a curse. I hate my life, and mainly I hate myself. Seriously, I thought my therapist meant everything well until I saw that they hate myself, really. Let me tell you what happened after my last update. My therapist's wife was talking about how they were financially struggling. I told you guys I was thinking about letting them stay at my house as they were like my parents, so I did. I was actually enjoying their company at the beginning, and the first thing that I failed to notice was that they started asking me for money. In the beginning, they used to plan expensive trips and used to include me, but with time they claimed that they needed alone time and excluded me. I'd spent a good amount of time in a room with my whole family, so I know how much all of us have craved privacy. I thought that was their case too, but their trips became more frequent with the passing of time. One day, my therapist said it's getting embarrassing for them to ask for money when they're away for trips and suggested that I should give them a good amount of money so they don't have to bother me again and again. Well, I did. I thought they were ashamed that they were old and asking for money from a young person can be shameful to some people. One day, they showed me up at my apartment and told me I should buy this. And as it was my therapist's wife's pick, they suggested I should give half of the apartment to her, as their upcoming anniversary gift. They knew how my mind worked, and they were using it to loot me. I needed company, and they knew that I saw them as my parents, so they used it to guilt trip me and everything. The whole time, I didn't realize it until I found out about this GoFundMe account. My sister found it on the internet from social media and sent it to me. I blocked her number, so she used another to reach out. Yes, he had opened a GoFundMe account in my name. He faked my story and made my sister a villain. He said when my sister found out I won a lottery, she stole the money and ran away with her boyfriend. He said that I ended up living in the streets, and he found me in a park suffering from a cold, and he brought me inside his house. He said I have cancer and don't have enough money for the treatment, so he needs money for it. This story has already collected $24,000 and it's viral. I was shocked to my core and sick to my stomach. I feel like ending everything. All my life, people have taken advantage of me, vulnerabilities, and this time it's too far. I trusted my instincts this time and gave them the place of my parents, and they did this to me instead? They were probably so greedy for money that they thought my money was not enough, and went out to take more people's money with their lies. Now I'm feeling worse than my sister. She was trying to contact me after, and I told her I don't want to talk. My therapist was the one who suggested cutting ties with her, and I can't confront him now, as they're touring in another country, and I don't want to talk with them personally because I'm scared of getting manipulated. Again. I could use some more suggestions. Final update, update number 4. Thank you guys for filling my compliments with nothing but positivity. It's been 4 months since my last update, right? I know I'm dumb and I always learn after being betrayed. Thank you for staying with me. Even though my dumbness might seem annoying to you, I appreciate every one of you guys. Because of you, I got enough courage to stand up against them. I used some of the ideas you suggested and it worked. I made a video where I explained everything and said how I and the ones who were funding money were getting exploited. I tracked down the person on Twitter who was talking about me and personally DM'd them the video. They helped me repost the video on the GoFundMe website and they stopped the activity. People were angry at my therapist and emailed his clinic to fire him and report him to the police. Many people who donated to the account also reported him. They had no idea what was happening as they were in another country, and I suggested not to alert them, as if they got to know they would hide. When they came back, they realized their act had been caught. They made a full video of lies to try to frame me by saying that I wanted their house, which is why I was making up stories. Nobody was buying their silly, baseless accusation, and they refused to even leave my house, and I had to ask help from police to throw them out. Due to the overwhelming number of cases that were filed against them, police were actively investigating. The trial is still going on at this moment, and they don't have a house now, and along with that, they have to pay back the money from everyone, which apparently they've spent on the vacation. The government also took its license, so even if they don't end up in jail, they'll definitely end up on the streets. Honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I got lots of support from the internet as well, and many of them were calling me dumb, which I will shamelessly agree to. I'm a sensitive person, and things like this hurt me a lot no matter what kind of people they are. But they were downright evil. They were exploiting innocent people to fulfill their luxury fantasy, and I don't feel hurt by their consequences this time. They got what they deserved. I wanted to see them suffer and don't want them to ever see them near me again. Well, my sister and me, we reconciled. Some of you guys asked me if I was still giving my sister money when I stopped talking with her. Not practically, I gave her a good amount of money and then stopped talking to her. However, she and her boyfriend, now husband, have a job and they're expecting their first child. I apologized to her for what I did, and it took time for her to forgive me, but eventually, when she heard the story, she said I can't be trusted alone and proposed to live with them. I've been thinking about selling all my property, and I'll buy a big house for everyone. I'm excited for the child that will arrive anytime soon. I swear I'll shower him or her with love that nobody could ever imagine. Wish me luck.